What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be talking none other than about the JP meta. We also have some English meta because we're very close to theirs right now. We are just basically 2 sets away and we are fully caught up, and then simultaneous release. So without further ado, let's get in the video and talk about it. If you guys are running over to TCG Player, remember, use my affiliate link down below. It helps support the channel, no extra costs. But without further ado, let's get into the video and just get into the shenanigans that's coming forwards. So JP, we're still at 36 tops at almost the final week of the EX-08 BT20 format for them. And they have purple good stuff, blue armors, purple hybrid, Fenrir Luga, red hybrid, 7 great demon lords, Mirage Galga, Tyrannomon, Plants Fairies, Talmon Loop, blue green Imperial, Nature Spirits, birds, security controlled, Deep Savers, Crosshearts, Sun and Moon, Ancient Garu, Terrier, Nature Nightmare Soldiers, Barbamon, Ice Snow, or the Bears. This is a Figamon, Pyramidi, Black hybrid, Diaboromon, red purple Imperialdramon, Lucimon, Justimon, Edamon, Dexteruga, Mastemon, Aquatic, all the kind of just generic stuff once you start seeing these show up at the end. So it's kind of cool, but let's get into the list, shall we? So first list we're going to be taking a look at is none other than the good old classic Ancient Garu Bonds. So this shows that the deck isn't actually completely dead out of the water, right? It's been a hot second since we've seen this, but it's kind of cool that they're using the Ancient Garu to just swing in with the Gabus, do the Gabu shenanigans. They do have, Matt Ishida to help draw, get you to your pieces faster, and then you basically OTK, you kind of just deal a lot of damage with your Ancient Garurumon, and then boom, when it comes down to getting that final couple swings, you're just going to be able to multi-attack with your, Gabu Bond of Friendship, the one ace you have, which I'm surprised they're only on 1. I would probably go to 2, but they also have Metal Garurumon in here, kind of helping speed things along. So, the deck is going to finitely do what it's always been planning on doing, right? They clear a bunch of security, and then if you counteract them a few dozen times, they don't care, because eventually they're just going to bring up the Gabumon and just swing out for game, right? That's just commonplace with this deck. It's a very powerful strat because, again, Ancient Garurumon basically guarantees a card going to your opponent's hand, which triggers theirs to be able to trash something. So it leads to being some great value across the board, right? And being able to just bounce anything is just vitally important, right? Now, again, I know a lot of players are really wanting to use the Dynamon deck, and this is starting to look like what we're kind of going to see for the foreseeable future. This is what Dynamon's trying to do. They are teching in this Agu, which is not a bad thing to give your Dynamon an extra little DP boost, but they are playing the Master Tyrannomon, which is the other one that was from, I forget which set it was. I think it was BT9 or something, or one of those two. But the Master Tyrannomon from that older set, it's not a bad pickup, especially because it gives an extra security check and you don't really care about anything else. Just deal a lot of damage, hit face. But if you look into the list, they are playing 2 Galamon X antibody and then 1 medieval Galamon. So it has great synergy across the board. And, the reptile shenanigans that this deck leads into is always great. Williams being able to help reduce the Digivolution cost is really solid, but with the added bonus of Tyrannomon X antibody, it just made the deck feel like a super cohesive strategy. So yeah, it just leads to being very powerful, and I like when players have a good shot at decks that just seem rogue. But I think this might be a good value take to try out. I know a lot of players are like, well, I don't have Metal Mamamon, or I don't have Galamon or Medivals. Like, that might be your biggest problems. And I know they're very expensive top ends, but, you know, Dynamon does stuff by himself. The issue still leads to what you kind of just can replace them with. And it's kind of tough to replace cards like this because they're just such powerful cards that you definitely want to have them. And it's just tough because I don't even know what you would place in backup. I mean, you could just use Rusty Terriermon Ace, you know, the old boy, because again, it kind of sort of does what Medieval does, but not as well. I think at the end of the day, you'll find your flow, and even if you don't use these 3 cards and the X antibody shenanigans, I mean, eventually you will figure out what you want to do, right? Now, we do have Bloomlord doing something. You know, I'm a big, you know, supporter for Bloomlord shenanigans, so, I mean, Bloomlord's going to apply pressure. I like that Bloomlord is using Medieval plus the Terriermon Ace plus Bloomlord leads to being this crazy bit of shenanigans, and I love the Kazemon evolution on top of your Mimis. I think this is a smart play in general. So at the end of the day, I think Bloomlord doing something against, you know, Dragons, Pyramidi, Purple Hybrid, and Magna X, even if it's 10 players, this is pretty solid of a list that a lot of players might actually enjoy this a lot. So something to kind of think about when you're deck building and all that good stuff is that we might want to design decks like this. You know, Bloomlord is still a super budget friendly deck, even with the Medievals in the list and the Terriermon Ace. I mean, the rest of it is just pennies on the dollar, right? I mean, the most expensive cards are this. At this point, Bloomlord has fallen off a lot, but, you know, Bloomlord just does what I love about this deck, you know? Now, we do have Dark Nightmon Lord Nightmon, so this one is up to players' preference and stuff like that, but I really do think we are onto something here. You know, a lot of players haven't had a chance to try out the deck, and I feel like it's always very much underrepresented. You know, unofficial tournament participation, 2 winners, decks name. There will also be many decks I want to build, but I think Rex has gotten used to Digimon by now, so hope to graduate from being a beginner this year. I mean, it's kind of cool to see the list and people trying it out. I know this wasn't a lot of players, but, you know, participations were 2. It's kind of hard to showcase something like this, right? But I think just taking a look here, it's kind of cool that we get decks like this and people are just trying it out. But I really do like, you know, the Lord Nightmon, Dark Nightmon variant, because I just feel like it does a lot more shenanigans, especially with their DDG evolution shenanigans they do. Now, this is the one we wanted to take a look at. Here's the Terriermon deck. So, well, not even that. It's a 8 players. Winner was Blue Hybrid, but second place was the Rapid. So taking a look here is Terriermon, Terriermon Ace, Mega Gargo Ace, and Medieval Gallant. As you can see, more and more Medieval Gallant is just being played because it's just such a good card. You know, this is the future Death X. This was inevitable, and I was literally, hopefully, you guys picked up the copies when I was telling you to, because I knew it wasn't going to stay cheap for long. This card was going to be expensive. People just were sleeping on it right away because they were seeing Gallantmon X as the shiny new toy, but they didn't realize Medieval Gallantmon was also a shiny new toy you needed to get your hands on, so Medieval Gallant went up like crazy. So I think this is a good, if you guys have been wanting getting the itch to play Terriermon, I think this is a good starting base for you guys. So now we did have Latim's first place was just a generic, you know, has 1 Medieval Gallant, 2 Nidhogg, Gallantmon, you know, BT13, just the normal song and dance you kind of just see. So I figured we would just showcase this one more time. And then you have the Sayoko, just being able to on deletion draw a card, trash a card. So early aggression this thing's gonna do, but also if you Digivolve, deletes one of your opponent's level 3s. So it can lead to being some crazy shenanigans. But then we also got a Barbamon X getting first place, you know, Protoforms, 7th Dualization. So again, a lot of players are trying to figure out what they're going to be doing with this deck. And I think this is a good starting point. There is, you know, no answers of how many players played in it, but, you know, this is just something to work with, right? You know, we got 2 token generators, which is kind of fun to see. And then you just the Barba X shenanigans. I love that Octomon's just going to be able to produce a token that basically says if you kill it, you know, they're going to be discarding a card, which will help lead into Barbara X shenanigans, right? Now, we do have Tyrant. Tyrant was Spain. This was first place at a locals. And I like where they go with these kind of things. You know, they are playing the Ancient Beetlemon, which a level 5 Insectoid, level, you know, for 3 costs, which means all your level 5s here, these 2 level 5s here are your main targets. You know, you do have Lilithmon, Ace, and Argomon, but I mean Lilymon Ace, but the fact that it has on play when Digivolving, Digivolve 2 of your opponent's Digimon, all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, you may play a level 4 or lower insect or hybrid trait from this Digi-Evolution cards without paying its cost. So it basically guarantees you to get your stuff back, especially on your stack. So I think it's a good tech, Ancient Beetlemon, especially once you have Tyrant Terriermon up. Your opponent's just not going to be doing much, right? So at the end of the day, Tyrant's just really solid, just because it does have an innate great protection, while the Digimon is spent and isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon. So their normal natural ability to Digivolve this thing is never going to happen. Blastace just can't do anything against this, and just Tyrant Terriermon is just going to eat house. So stuff like this is just something to think about, especially when deck building comes around. And again, if you guys really want to be looking at decks, and these were English decks, by the way, that topped on our side of the format. And then I know there was one more I wanted to take a look at. I know I saw it. Yeah, let's see. United Kingdom. This is the one I really wanted to look at to kind of just show you. They did top in United Kingdom with it. You know, a locals, but you're gonna look though. Lord Nightmon Ace, Lord Nightmon X, and then, you know, Dark Nightmon X Antibody. All great cards. Fist of Athena, Undying King. All just great cards for the deck to be playing. And I think we have a lot of synergy and a lot of game plans that we want to work with. So at the end of the day, I'm really excited to see where people adapt and build up their decks and fine-tune what they need to do, right? I love Protoform, X Antibody Protoform in the list. It's just really solid, right? So everything said and done, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.